Greetings, fellow gamers. Quickscoping is somewhat a contentious issue in Call of Duty, which people argue for days on end on all sorts of issues, such as whether it's an exploit or a game mechanic, whether it's the right way to play the game or not, and so forth. Something about quickscoping and camping seems to trigger the beast mode in their victims, and I don't just mean beast in the good sense either. When people find themselves quickscoped or the victim of a camper, they seem to turn into wild savages, spewing profanities which more often than not involve mothers, sexuality, and sometimes a rubber duck. I'm not going to repeat what was said at that point, but yeah. What is it that drives these gamers to rage so hard? I like to think it's the insta-death aspect that they really do not enjoy, and they like to think that every gunfight should be held in a traditional quick draw battles, or perhaps they feel that any time they die it's never their fault. But I think if they knew exactly how to quickscope and to a consistent and effective level, they'd be of the saying, if you can't beat them, join them. And why wouldn't you? To get a rush from taking down your enemy without giving them time to react, taking them down easily that you barely even have to try anymore, why wouldn't that appeal to a person? Black Ops 2 had a quickscoping problem. They littered the game with their DSRs and their ballistas, and even sent death threats to Vonderhaar when their beloved DSR got nerfed in a patch. Quickscopers made certain game modes unplayable, and by that I really mean demolition, as they pretty much rode into town with their tactical inserts, laid deep in the enemy spawn, and laughed menacingly as they received scores of 52-4 on whatever map it was, and sometimes even more if it was Nuketown. My personal favourite mode, Kill Confirmed, was another that more often than not was riddled with quickscopers, that they didn't need to pick up the tags, as it would act as a motion detector for smarter players, and it would make for a longer game to buff up their KDR. Now when you fast forward to Ghosts, and we're told by Ruben himself that quickscoping in its traditional sense is gone, and now it'll be harder than ever to quickscope. Yeah, someone really should have told these people that. I mean, look at them. Oh gosh, look at them. Making it look easy since the 5th of November. What hope do you stand to have when you are a second or two behind everyone else, and when you see an enemy you don't even see them draw their weapon? What hope do you have when the player models don't pop out as well as they do on Black Ops 2? At least in Black Ops 2 you could thank Pavlov for being able to deal with snipers, as you recognise their distinctive attire with their hoods up on certain teams. And unless you've had a basic AS level of psychology education, or you just know who Pavlov is, that probably didn't make sense just then. Anyway, in Black Ops 2 it was somewhat easier to deal with the quickscoping heathen, but here it just seems a combination of things are making things harder than they have to be. The player models are not popping out as clearly, the slight lag and time delay, the longer than usual sight lines, chrome barrel, introduction of marksman rifle, and the fact that it's practically easier than ever to quickscope makes lobbies of snipers a really unpleasant experience. When it comes to solutions, many have claimed things like limits on snipers per team, but now that I've had time to think about it, this really is not the right solution. People shouldn't be punished for picking their favourite class, but quickscoping personally is something that I feel should never be in the game, as it ruins the experience and immersion if you spot the sniper and he's wielding this big and bulky rifle that downs you in one shot. Then again, sniper rifles aren't exactly viable options for small maps, which was the problem with Black Ops 2 and their map selection, as the more suitable maps like Turbine, Aftermath and Drone were more of the unpopular ones, meaning they wouldn't get played as much, which meant they had to find a way to utilise them on smaller maps. Now that we have bigger maps, the traditional scoping methods certainly seems a lot more viable, and I'm not running into quickscopers as much, but when I do run into one and I watch the kill cams, I see that it's just as easy as ever. I'm not justifying it or anything, but I am saying that the blame cannot solely be put on quickscopers, as let's face it, if the developers really wanted the quickscoping mechanic to be gone, it would have disappeared a long time ago. But well. Anyway, that's about it for this video. Thank you for watching. It is very much appreciated. Take care of yourself, and Silver Assassin out.
Do it on the dime, kick the shit out of beat until it die. Call CSI, I got them running scared, trying to catch up. 57 hands, Gregory the dance legend. Make music, I'm stepping out at a major event. Best dressed in attendance, and I never left the house. Right back at it, like the pilot get the pot, we could get it cracking in here. Audio dope, we track trafficking, and they asking for more. Is you back again? And I ain't talking about practice no more. When it's game time, show me.